superhero, supervillain, and their whiny-ass preschool teacher, Mr. Fee. I don't give a fuck about 3 links and the piss poor excuse for bands that play there. I don't give a fuck about the Denton scene or cleaning up the vomit I inject from looking at any of their fucking faces. I don't give a fuck about Beaver and their half-brain guitar player, Paul. I don't need to get $5 rim jobs from Noogie to fund their tour van repairs. Nobody gives a shit that 20 years later Richard Haskins is still wearing his mom's fucking panties. If anyone in this sewer sludge we call a music scene is fucking offended by what I gotta say, just remember, kids, I'm giving no fucks today. About superhero, supervillain, and their whiny-ass preschool teacher, Mr. Fee. I don't give a fuck about 3 links and the piss poor excuse for bands that play there. I don't give a fuck about the Denton scene or cleaning up the vomit I inject from looking at any of their fucking faces. I don't give a fuck about Beaver and their half-brain guitar.
And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Inner Geekdom podcast. I am your host, well, none other than Rune, the person that pretty much runs things around here over on the Inner Geekdom side of our little powwow of people that we like to hang out with. So if you are not already subscribed, followed, whatever you need to do to the Inner Geekdom, and you want to hang out with me a little bit more, make sure that you are going and doing that, because we don't only do podcasts around here. We have a lot of other fun, little tabletop gaming such as Dungeons and Dragons. I'm particularly a little bit partial to Fabula Ultima, but on Mondays you can actually go and see me over on Artificer Alley, where I am playing a very muscly demigod in a Marvel campaign.
So you're playing yourself.
I mean, I'm really not that muscly, but if you want to call me a demigod, shorty, I'm gonna allow it. But with that being said, a podcast would not be very fun if it were just I speaking at a camera for an hour. So I like to make sure that I at least have one guest with me, and one of our regulars around here is Mr. Shorty Mafia. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself some shout outs, my guy?
Hey, so as you said, I'm Shorty Mafia, or Shorty for short. You can catch me out on Twitch at Shorty Mafia, and I stream a lot of Ark. I'm starting to do Red Dead and Rust are my three main games at the moment. So
Very
if you just want to come by and chill and have some just good vibes, come on by.
I'm gonna try and join you in Arc here soon. I had some issues last time I tried to download it, so we'll see if we can get it working, which would make no sense. Well, I'm just saying, I'm running on a pretty super computer compared to most people, so if it is not running on my computer, then I don't know how most people are playing this game. And I'm not saying that I'm like overly fancy, but you know, running a 4070, you think that it could run pretty much anything, you know, like I got a new motherboard, I'm running 32 gigs of RAM, like it should run.
Yeah, well, the problems you were having seemed more it was a problem with the download than
Probably
anything, since you couldn't get the mods to download. So.
Yeah, so hopefully we can figure out what's wrong with it on that, because I would enjoy getting a chance to try out Ark, especially in the sense that it has that Power Ranger mod that you can throw in there. For anyone that doesn't know, I'm a big Henshin Hero guy, you know, give me some Kamen Rider, Power Ranger, Super Sentai, so very much kind of looking forward to at least checking that out. I think it'll make for some fun content.
Oh yeah, the Rex's skin look really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot more to the game than I thought there was going to be, just off of, because before I jump into a game, I do an insane amount of research. So I've already been looking into at least a good bit of that. But yeah, why don't we just go ahead and jump into our first segment that we have each week. It is time once again for the weekly What to Watch, where we tell you what you should be watching this weekend. And as per usual, Shorty, you usually have a pretty good idea of what animes people that should be checking out. So what anime you got recommended for us?
So I'm going to go with a blast from the past this week with Digimon Adventures 2020, the remastering of the original Digimon series.
Yeah. I actually watched this when it was coming out in Japanese, but it does have an English dub now for people that are not necessarily wanting to, you know, I know some people prefer a dub. I will say, though, even in the dub version, they changed a lot of things back to the original Japanese, including a lot of the names.
Yeah, so Crunchyroll only has the subbed, it does not have the dubbed.
Okay. Who has
Which
the
is
dub
why I
then?
watch everything. Maybe Funimation?
Hulu? No, it's not Funimation, because Funimation has already been absorbed into Crunchyroll. Yeah. So I've got to imagine it's got to be Hulu. Clue. It's got to be Hulu then. Hulu Disney Plus, because I know that but that'd be the only one, because there's no way High Dive got its hands on that property.
No.
Yeah,
no way in hell.
Yeah, so it's got to be Hulu Disney Plus that has the dub then, because I know
I watch everything on Crunchy.
Okay.
Everything officially I watch on Crunchy.
So this is a really cool thing that I enjoy that happens from time to time with anime, where we had a very amazing version of it when we were younger, but then it starts to just have that little bit of rust on it, you know, like animation gets better, sound quality gets better, you know, you change like even the format that things are made in, and sometimes some of your favorites start to feel a little bit old, or maybe you want like a more mature telling of the story.
So, which is really funny, because the first Digimon series specifically is an isekai.
This is true.
They are taken to another world.
It is one of the first isekai series that I remember getting into, that and probably Dot Hack Sign.
Yeah, that's another good one. Dot Hack is good. But yeah, it is fundamentally an isekai. And if people don't know, Rune hates isekais.
Majority of the time.
He loves Digimon.
There's a handful of isekai I do like, though, because I'm also a big Mashuka Tensei Jobless Reincarnation fan.
I prefer the light novel over the anime, but that's a discussion for another time.
Both are good, though.
Yeah, both are good.
And the manga is pretty good as well.
I stopped reading the manga like halfway through. It was updating too slow for me.
Yeah. But not like, so I do like this trend of taking a little bit of an older anime and going and giving it an updated version, because when it comes to Digimon, it's very similar to how I feel with like Yu Yu Hakusho. I can go back and I love it. I love Yu Yu Hakusho. It is so good. It's particularly the first 2 seasons, which is the beginning through the Dark Tournament. That's kind of your solid. I do recommend at least going through it, but if you want just a good quick go through and not the full 4 seasons, just the first 2 are a fantastic good in bookend. I feel like if you want like a quick one.
They definitely could have ended it at the tournament.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they continued with it.
Same, because it's on one of my favorites. But Yu Yu Hakusho is getting a remake. It is going to be having an updated version. And I very much look forward to it, because even though I love the original Yu Yu Hakusho anime, but when you go and watch it, the repeating of the same songs every single fight kills me with it, man. Kills me. And I am a film aficionado of sorts. Like, I went to film school. Aficionado. Like, I'm just saying, man, like I feel like I pay attention to little things a little bit more than some people might when it comes to this, because I am a big proprietor for the soundtrack. And that's one of the problems that I have with Yu Yu Hakusho is it's those same like few songs. And when I say few, I mean very few. 4 whole seasons. I could understand using the same tracks for 2 seasons or whatever, but it's all 4 seasons.
Well, they did the same thing with Bleach too.
Yeah, so, Bleach was really bad about it.
Like, whenever the fight scene, it was the
particularly the earlier ones. And Naruto had a few tracks as well, but like at least they added more. It was 4 seasons of the same exact tracks, and I mean they didn't add any new songs.
But it was the 90s. So.
It was the 90s, but that's kind of the thing, because you look at what happened with Hunter x Hunter, and they flipped it around with an amazing remake with Hunter x Hunter. I love the Hunter x Hunter remake. It's so, like, I do enjoy certain parts of the original more, actually, visually. But story-wise, the 2012 remake of Hunter x Hunter is far superior.
Yeah. I really wish there was more Hunter x Hunter to read than there is.
That's fair. Yeah. But when it comes to this, but when it comes to this Digimon 2020 remake that they did, I do like the fact that they didn't just do a remake. They changed up the story pretty drastically, to the point that the opening part of the show actually starts out with our war games, which is what was translated into the second part of the first movie for us, which is where they go into the internet and fight Omnimon. That's the opening arc of this show. They like just jump right into it, so it's a very different telling of Digimon than what we originally got.
Well, it's also because it is a remake, so they're portraying to the people who've already seen the series.
This is true. This is true.
They were just trying to grab your attention quick, and I think they did really well with it. And the art is just clean. Like, 2020 was a great time for anime.
True.
And don't be wrong, the original Digimon was still nice and good looking for its time.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like how clean they made it.
One of the things I enjoy about this Digimon series over the original is because I'm a pretty big fan of the Digimon series, much like Shorty here. I like the fact that there is side progression Digivolutions instead of only upwards progression Digivolutions. Mm-hmm. Depending on the situation of where they were at, the Digimon could have a completely different Digivolution that's not just an upgrade. Sometimes it's a sidestep because it fits the situation better, and I'm a huge fan of that.
They do the polars as well. It's like if they're trying to force a Digi-evolution, it goes into an evil version of it, or like a corrupted Digivolution. And I like that extra building into that, where you're supposed to evolve the proper way, and not just trying to force yourself to get stronger.
And that's one of the reasons I was also telling you earlier you need to check out Digimon Survive, the video game, because there is a lot of those themes explored a lot in there. I mean, I would love if we actually got an anime of Digimon Survive, because it is just that good of a story. I would love if we ended up actually getting to see that, and we will here soon. They did announce that here soon we will be having some Digimon news. But yeah, I definitely will say Digimon 2020, a fantastic one. Do you have any more notes before we move on to the next suggestion that we have? We'll do some more Digimon discussion at the end of the show.
Yeah, most of my stuff will be towards that discussion.
Right.
So we'll go with your recommendation now.
All right, jumping into my recommendation for this week, we have Umbrella Academy's 4th and final season coming to Netflix. For anyone that is not aware of Umbrella Academy, it is a quirky superhero show about a bunch of adopted kids that are in kind of a very interesting, weird way of growing up with a very eccentric father that ends up passing away, and that brings them all back to their home where they are all just very messed up different superheroes. And yes, this is the 4th and final season, and for anyone that didn't know, this was originally a comic book written by none other than the singer for My Chemical Romance, Gerard Way.
That is correct. And for people who haven't seen it, the synopsis of it is these women were pregnant, same day, gave birth, no fathers, nothing. And every baby that was born on that day at that time with no father ended up having superpowers. And I wouldn't really call them superheroes.
They market themselves as superheroes, though.
They maybe when they were younger. I don't.
Right.
After the first season, I don't count any of them as superheroes.
Well, I wouldn't say they're superheroes now, but it's very much they were superheroes and now they're like dysfunctionally brought back together, and it's more of a, I would say, original Guardians of the Galaxy kind of style of a team where they're superheroes, but only because we're watching from an outside perspective.
Yeah, but I think another thing that is to look at is he's portraying what happens when fame kind of gets to you and then you let it run your life. Just like how a lot of like bands and groups do, or they'll be super successful and then there'll be a dropping point and then it just gutters everything.
But a very different way than The Boys does it, though, because The Boys has a very crude humor with this. I would say that this is much more along the Guillermo del Toro kind of like Tim Burton-esque kind of vibe of a superhero like perspective. Yeah,
it's not quite like Deadpool anti-hero,
yeah,
but it's not your stereotypical superhero.
Right, for sure. So. Yeah, because I definitely don't think that it definitely fits the obscura more side of things if you enjoy things like Sandman, for example, or other more, like a darker kind of version.
Yeah, and then their powers are very niche as well.
Very more X-Men level, I would say, ground hero. And I like that. I like ground hero. Mutation-like
versus... But warning to people who are a little sensitive to some subjects, there is a couple spiky parts in the series.
Yeah.
So just before warning, there might be some triggering portions for some people who have certain problems or incidents in their life.
Well, but there are some things in there it does tackle because this is a mature show. I also will point out that, and this is just because I know that we have some audience members, that if you are the type of person, and I'm not trying to talk any type of shit on you, but if you're the type of person that gets bothered by things that are quote unquote woke, probably not the show for you. There's some queer coding in there pretty heavily at certain parts. So, I mean, if that's something that doesn't quite, if it's not that it's all over the place for the show, but if it's something that gets you where you're just annoyed and can't enjoy the product beyond that point, you're probably not going to enjoy the show. It is not a huge focus, but it is something that is widely accepted. And I actually think that it is done better than most shows where it does just make it an accepted instead of making it a preaching thing.
Yeah, it's underlined but never outspoken about.
Right. So
I can respect.
Exactly. So I just kind of want to put that caveat out there, because I do know that some people, they get really in a tizzy. I know that, we have Elliot Page as an actor on there whom is a trans actor. So, I personally, I don't enjoy him as an actor, but thankfully he is only a part of an ensemble, and it's not a trans thing. I didn't like him in Juno because I dated a girl in high school and I thought that I was romantic, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go and leave a little basket of things that she loves outside of her house when she was sick. Went and got her the chocolates, her favorite magazine, stuff like that. I go and put, and a copy of Juno in there because I think that we've seen it in theaters theaters and she thought it was funny, gives her something to watch while she is sick. Because this is when I was in high school. We didn't have streaming services back then. You had to wait 30 minutes for a 2-minute YouTube video to upload. So,
or go to a Blockbuster and rent it.
Right, exactly. So the problem is she's one of those types of people that has no quandary with watching a movie over and over and over again and quoting it as if she said it herself, as if she came up with this witty thing. And I just find that incredibly annoying. So I've always had an issue with Elliot Page because of that reason. I didn't think that she was very good as Shadowcat in the X-Men movies either, so...
See, it's really funny because I forgot that he was in here. Like, I forgot that's who that was because when I see him now, I think of the short hair, more mask presenting. But in the first season, which is where I stopped watching it, they still had their long hair. Yeah, they were still in transition. So I completely forgot that's who that was playing that character. Yeah. Personally, one of my favorite characters is Klaus.
Klaus is the best character in this show. And number 5, I think his name is, the kid. Klaus and the kid, best parts of the show. Like, because some of the other characters are whiny, they can be annoying, they get so caught up in their own bullshit. Those two characters will keep you coming back for this whole show. No joke.
Yeah, and the only part I didn't like for Klaus was, spoilers, the time traveling portion of it.
So this is a timey-wimey show, so if you hate time travel stuff, especially into the later seasons, you're getting into multiverse and stuff like that. That's why I'm kind of glad that it's stopping at 4 seasons, because it's hard to put the fart back in the ass after it's already been put out there, man. Like, after you've already delved into multiverse, it's kind of hard to step backwards from it. I'm really curious at how they're gonna manage it over at Marvel, because they said after these next few movies they're done with multiverse stuff. But yeah, man, I do like this show. I highly recommend this show to people. I don't really have anything else. It's 4 seasons. It's really not that big of an undertaking, and it's pretty entertaining. So that's my recommendation.
I think we both recommend, like, they're not brand new shows. Well, yours is a brand new continuation.
Right.
But I think they're still good, just sit at home, time wasting shows.
Oh, for sure.
It's not going to be over in one day. You'll have time to catch up, and you'll spend a couple weeks doing it, which is nice.
Exactly. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into topic number 2 of the podcast today. Topic number 2 being, let's discuss some video games that are being adapted into movies or television. You know, I only bring this up for 2 reasons, actually. 2 very good reasons. One of them, of course, being because the soon-to-be box office flop, Borderlands, is getting ready to come out. And I'm sorry, it looks horrible, and I have not heard a good thing about it yet from any of
it. It reminds me too much of the new Jumanji.
Yeah, worse than that even.
Yeah.
Because I actually somewhat enjoyed the new Jumanji. This was off. This looks awful. It looks so bad. It looks like they attempted to kind of do what they did with Dungeons and Dragons and somehow just missed the mark.
So with Dungeons and Dragons, I actually liked the VHS version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, old school, yeah.
So I actually enjoyed that movie.
Okay, but hear me out. Back then, we were thirsty for some fantasy movies, though, so we let a lot slide.
Yeah, but I still enjoy it. I like the internet of the traps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I love Borderlands as a series, game-wise.
Same.
I love all the Borderlands games. I even gave Tiny Tina's game a shot for a little bit. It's fun.
I enjoy it.
But I also think it's going to flop.
Yeah.
Is that going to stop me from seeing it? No.
I'm not still going to the theaters.
I will.
I'm not for that one. Now we did get another a trailer, a teaser here recently, and unfortunately we don't have Miss Drusilla here with us today because a teaser trailer for a Yakuza series is coming on. I don't know if it was, I think it's a TV show that they're doing, and yeah.
I'd see more of the TV show than the movie.
I'm here for it, man. I mean, I have not played the series. I'm interested in the series, but it's I know it turns turn-based at some point in the franchise, and it's interesting. We'll see. I hear it's pretty fun, and the fans, it's a smaller fan base, but a very loyal and happy fan base from what I can tell.
Well, the story of it goes really nice, and it's a straightforward story. It's easy to follow, and it's just a fun game in general. Good like time wasting game.
Apparently, it's so good that some of the actual top Yakuza officials have even said that it's really fun and accurate beyond the fact that the main character in a bunch of the games wears a shirt that looks far too cheap to be Yakuza. That was their comment on it.
So when I was in Japan, I had brushed into people of that genre.
Right.
And I can say for a fact they would not wear stuff that cheap.
I just love that was the thing that they found. They're just like, no, you must have been really low ranking if you're wearing a shirt that looks that cheap.
Yeah.
But
even when we were at the bar drinking, they were pretty dolled up.
Well, so that's one example that we have. What are some other ones? Like we've discussed we've discussed when we aren't hopeful for, really. Let's talk about some of the ones that have already come out that have actually done pretty well when it comes to this. You know,
can I before we do that, can I say one that didn't do really well?
Yeah, sure.
Halo.
The TV show, yeah. Somehow it got multiple seasons, didn't it?
Yes, but it's so inaccurate from the game and from the books that it irks every fiber of my body. Dude never wears his armor, never wears his helmet. He wasn't a kid. He had sex with a extraterrestrial.
Yeah. As one does.
And Cortana wasn't his love interest.
Right, I know that for a fact.
And all of those were main plots of Master Chief. He never took his armor off.
Yeah.
He never asked for help. He was in love with a computer.
Well, this is a good example of like one of the smaller it's a good example of one of the smaller streaming services taking a knack at it as well. But I can think of one recently that I enjoyed that was one of the smaller streaming services, and that's Twisted Metal. I actually think the Twisted Metal show's pretty entertaining, but it's such a vague concept in the video games that you can kind of add whatever you want as long as you don't stray too far from the over-the-top extremism of it. You kind of have to lean into that part. Beyond that, it's like, what story? There's not a lot there.
All right, but I will give a good one on the other side of that, though. The One Piece by Netflix.
No, we're talking video games, not anime.
There's video games of One Piece.
That doesn't count. We can do a discussion on that another time. There's other Last of Us. That's an example of one.
See, I don't like the Last of Us games.
Well, you should watch the show then, because it gets you through it a lot quicker. It's actually a good adaptation. I enjoyed it a lot. I actually really think that they did a fantastic job with that. Well, what about the Mario movie? I thought that was actually pretty good.
Never saw it.
You didn't see it? Okay, so I
saw the ending of it. I caught the ending of it.
I think it's worth checking out. I really do. I think that it's got enough deep cut references that you would appreciate it as someone that is kind of ingrained in a lot of nerd culture. You'll probably pick up on some of them, even some of like the stuff like, oh, I remember playing Donkey Kong 64. I get what they're talking about there. There's even a little bit of stuff like that thrown in there that I really appreciate.
All right. Now let's do one that's really close to my heart, Arcane.
Okay.
The League of Legends series. I love League. I'm a Teemo main, and I love the chaos. And they did so good with that TV series. It got me through a deployment.
Nice. See,
it was so nice.
That one got like awards and everything. That is a highly recommended series. None
of it's canon. None of it is canon for the actual League world. Just putting that out there.
I think all of its canon in the League world doesn't matter as much.
No, I'm just saying for people who follow the League lore,
right?
It doesn't go with the show lore.
Right.
There is a arc in League that they do the Arcane world, but it's like a parallel.
Mm-hmm.
So just for the people who are super into lore and things like that.
They did do a good job with that. Another one that they did that with is Cyberpunk. They had, was it Edge Runners over on Netflix, the anime?
Yeah.
That one, it's got a lot of praise. A lot of people really enjoyed that one. So we are seeing some good examples. Like it used to be a thing when you would bring up like adaptations of that assortment that people would immediately think that it's going to be dog shit. You know, like,
like
when
Persona 5.
well, yeah, but that's talk that is talking more. Well, that's kind
That
of
started
like,
as a game. That started as a game,
it
and then
did.
became a manga, and then it became an animation.
And it's funny
So-
because they've done that with a few of the personas. They also did that with Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. They've done it with Danganronpa. They've done it with a few, and they're very lazy adaptations. I feel like very lazy anime adaptations.
I don't like it.
Yeah, like there was a trend that they were doing that for a while, and I feel like they've kind of stopped doing that as much with anime as of late. Like, you'll see an occasional one, but for the most part, they're not. But there are some good times when you'll go and get you'll get something like a Spice and Wolf, because that started out as like a video game novel, but I guess that's a whole other kind of thing.
Yeah, see, Spice and Wolf is its own category. And
Yeah.
even in the manga genre in itself, it's technically a romance, but
Right.
it's in its own like fandom.
Yeah. Well, here's a fun one though. What is your thoughts on, first, the new version, but then also the original 2 movies, and even potentially the web series, if you've seen it, of Mortal Kombat?
So I've seen the movies.
Okay.
I don't mind the movies. I enjoy the movies.
Even though the old school ones,
The
I
old
love the
school
cheese.
movies,
I do love the
yes.
cheese. Yeah.
Yes. Then again, I love old like Chinese and Asian inspired movies, the old martial arts
Man,
movies.
you know me.
I
I
love
am a tokusatsu nerd. Throw on some Godzilla, give me some Jackie Chan movies. I'm all about it. You know how I am.
I think we talked about that last week because I'm really big into Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
But I don't play the games. I never got into the games.
Yeah.
I don't like. I played them in arcades, but I never saw the point of buying them as a disc.
Mm.
But I think I'd rather watch Tekken.
Yeah, Tekken got a good adaptation, like a pretty decent one. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like we've got some interesting ones on the horizon, though. Like, we know that there's a Zelda movie in the works. Like, that's been announced. So I mean, it feels like they're starting to not have that jitter that they did, because it's the same thing that happened with superhero movies for the longest time, that it was seen as kind of a niche. You'd make a little bit of money off of making it, but it wasn't going to be the biggest movie of the summer kind of thing. You know, it's a pretty big risk. You're probably going to end up with a Batman and Robin. You know what I mean? Like, good for toys, bad for actual movie sales. But when it comes to, like, right now, we're starting to see I will call the video game to movie / TV show renaissance. That, like, it's starting to actually be good. Now, there'll be a lot of failures. If we're going to talk about
a renaissance, though, we got to talk about one of the original games to TV show, Pokemon.
Now that one's a little bit hard because it was developed alongside each other.
So the game came out in 1996, and the book came out like a year later. So the game did really good, so they came up with a story for it. Yeah, that one's a little bit hard because of the way that it was developed, but yeah, kind of technically, it's still like one of the originals because of how it is.
Yeah, it was a weird development when it came to it, because it was like, we're gonna throw cards into it, and we're gonna, it was just, what type of merchandising can we throw with these little monsters that people like?
See, I enjoyed the card game video game.
Right,
I had it for the Game Boy Advance.
I actually did play that one. I played through that.
I enjoyed that.
Is there any video games off the top of your head that you can think of that you would like to see a TV show or movie for?
Ooh. It's kind of hard to say that because, as you said, I don't want a half-assed like rendition of a lot of my favorite games.
Well, I'm saying if it was given like an actual, little bit of love, and not one that's already in the works, because we already know like God of War is already in the works.
Yeah.
Well,
you go first, and I'll think about it.
Okay, well, I think that for like a fun animated series that could be pretty humorous, and I don't know how it didn't get a like animated TV show of some sort, is Animal Crossing. Like, it did have I think a 3-part cartoon at one point way back when, but I'm talking like an actual like series that comes out, I feel like Animal Crossing would be perfect if you had the right kind of writers for it. And I'm talking like go and get like the Agretzko writers, you know, people that know how to play with that, where it's family friendly enough, but it's going to be to a point that doesn't make it feel just for little kids. Because I don't know if you played the original Animal Crossing. Is your neighbors used to be mean to you, and that was part of the fun, was you could start to kind of have an enemy in your town, and it becomes like a whole thing. And they kind of stripped that away more and more as the series went along. And I kind of feel like a lot of people are saying bring it back. Putting that into a TV show would be very funny. I think having kind of like very quirky, like I said, a very Agretzko. Did you watch Agretzko, or however it's said, over on Netflix?
Yeah.
So you kind of get the tone that I'm talking about. I think that it would actually work very well.
So I'm going to go on the opposite side of that, and I would like to see a Civilization TV series, sort of like Hentalia, where each of the different nations that you can play as, you can see their point of view during the battles that you're having over the land. I think that'd be a really interesting thing to do. Or it'd be one episode you're Greece and you're invading towards Rome. Yeah. But then the next episode would be Rome defending against Greece and trying to push forward. I think that'd be a really cool concept that you could do.
There used to be this game, I don't remember the name of it, but it was a similar kind of game, but you had like God and like a devil kind of that talked back and forth while you were building. And I almost think that like having something like that, but with like a commentary like that, kind of going while you're kind of explaining the history, could be kind of fun if you had the right kind of duo kind of narrating it.
Well, with the new Civilization game coming out, I'm just saying if they do make a TV show based off of it, I'm calling it now that I called it. Yeah. Just putting it out there.
I think that would be that'd be an interesting one. I don't know how much of a clamor there is for it. I mean, it's a pretty deep concept for them to go with what your concept would be for it as well.
Well, like I'm thinking of it as like I read the Percy Jackson series, and each of the chapters are named after whose point of view you're reading it out of.
Right. Yeah. I've read
which
some
I love
like that,
getting into different people's headspace and just seeing the situation in different eyes. I think that's really cool. Yeah. And I would love to see more TV shows or more movies like that.
I feel you. Well, I definitely could see something like that being pretty fun. A lot of people like having a fun way of exploring history. Like you were saying, Axis Powers Italia was another, is a really good example of having a fun way of telling like history and things like that. So I definitely could see something like that being pretty fun. I definitely could.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. I think on the reverse side of that, though, I would love a new Hitman Reborn game. On the reverse side.
Well, they're about to put a 3 on VR.
I just hope they redo the entire series. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I do enjoy the Hitman series, and they had some so movie adaptations.
I don't think I ever saw the movies, but I did read it multiple times, and I loved it.
Yeah, I mean it's a good series. I think that one would make for a better TV show than it did movie. Because you can do infinite things with a hitman. You know, it's Bond. You could always create new stuff they need to do. So I mean, I feel like a Hitman TV show would be way better than those movies were, because they did like an okay movie and then like a really really bad one directly after it. Neither one of them are very good.
That's like the opposite of one of my favorite series, Detective Conan. The TV show's okay, but the movies are some of the best animation I've ever seen. Yeah.
So. All right. Well, is there any other on the top of your head that you can think of that you want to mention for, just video game adaptations that you have enjoyed?
No, I think that pretty much covers it off the top of my head.
Awesome.
Because, like I said, I'm super hesitant about them redoing a lot of those things from our childhood and just butchering it.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, because that was a trend that we had for a very long time. And it's kind of nice to see that we are moving in a direction that is a lot more favorable to the, at least keeping the tone right. Things will have to change in adaptation. That's a given. Anybody that wants a one-for-one recreation, I don't know what to tell you. You're never gonna
Licensing
get that.
for that would be annoying.
Well, and just go and watch a compilation of all the cutscenes. They have them on YouTube, you know,
or on the Clock app.
It's about that's the only real way to like play one of the Kingdom Hearts games at this point. So just go and watch the cutscenes if you really want just an 1-for-1. But you know, I definitely think that at least we're in a good uptick now. Eventually that uptick will downtick, but I am enjoying our uprise right now of having these video game to movie / TV show adaptations. Like it makes me excited to see what they're gonna go for next. I just hope that it doesn't start to get really too goofy like it did for a while there with movies where it's like, we're making Battleship, you know what I mean? Like, and I despise the Battleship movie.
Me too.
They never in the movie, not one time in the whole movie did they say, you sunk my battleship. Not once.
Not just that, it's like we're both Navy people.
We are indeed.
You prior and I'm current, and just the inaccuracy of all of it.
Yeah,
just earth the hell out of it.
Okay, but in a comedic sense though, that can
like
be
if
fun.
you think. Yeah, like in a comedic sense, it is fun, but they overplayed a lot of it. Well, they could have just got more actors to play the different parts.
I feel like a good example of this of one time I find it very comedic is, have you seen Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark?
No.
Okay, so it's like a megalodon kind of thing, but then the Navy goes and makes an electronic mecha shark to combat it, and it is just a joy to watch in B horror glory, just because it's like all of the Navy uniforms are just horribly off, you know, like nobody's hair is in rags, nobody's using the proper terminology. Like, it is so fun to sit down with some Navy buddies and watch that movie.
That's like I love finding the inaccuracies in like military movies. It's like there was once where they had the gold bars for being a admiral, but had an anchor on their rank tab.
Right.
Sir Chief.
Oh yeah, there's some hilarious ones like that, man. It always cracks me up whenever movies are like can't take the slightest bit of time. I understand you can't do like a 1-for-1 sometimes, but yeah, good lordy, some of them are so bad. The inaccuracy is just
crack. Like Saving Private Ryan's like that.
Yeah,
a lot of Saving Private Ryan's like that. Same with Band of Brothers. Great shows, great movies, but the inaccuracy for one that's supposed to be accurate, and they said they did the research for, there's so many inaccuracies. Me and my dad just love just pointing them out.
Yeah, so we got one more topic to go for today's podcast, and since we were talking about your weekly what to watch pick earlier, I figured we could just go into a little bit of a further discussion, since this is the inner geekdom, of our thoughts on the Digimon franchise.
So underrated.
I will say
it is overshadowed by Pokemon to an extreme, and it annoys me.
But that's because like Digimon has the unfortunate side that it is less linear, you know, like you have a repetitive nature of Pokemon. You know that pretty much every year you're going to get some iteration of a barely different version of the video game. You know that you're going to get a TV show that's Ash being pursued by Team Rocket. Like they're changing up a little bit now because they got a fire lit under their ass, and whenever they started to get spanked by Pal World. But you know, when you look at the Digimon series, I know I'm mean to the Pokemon. I'm mean to the Pokemon company pretty frequently on this show. But when you look at Digimon, you don't know when the next game's going to be coming out a lot of the time. Like, unless you're just a big fan like me, like I know the next one that they're doing is another like Digimon story game, where a lot of people were hoping for a continuation of the Cyber Sleuth franchise, you know.
Well, one of the things I liked about Digimon was it was always changing. There was different Digi devices. There was different ways to interact with the Digimon. Like in the first one, it's just you let your Digi evolve. The next one, you turn into your Digimon. You have eggs that you can hatch new Digimon, and then You can find these metals to add armor to your Digimon. There were so many more things involved, and I loved it.
They do it a little bit more now with Pokemon, with the yearly or bi-yearly gimmicks, as it tends to be. But Digimon did do it first, and I do feel like a lot of the times the stories that they tell when it comes to the Digimon series are a bit, I would say, mature, but you know, it is still a series that was aimed at a younger audience.
Children or preteens.
Yeah, but they do get into some real discussions. Like if you look at the season, the first season, you have two characters that are brothers from a family of divorced parents that each child went with a different parent. That is a real thing that you do not typically get in not only anime, but literally almost any medium I can think of. That is not a very common story that I have seen very often, especially for it to be something in something like Digimon and to play a very big theme.
So in the manga world, that is a big trope about houses divided.
Right.
So that is a big trope, but that does hit home for me because that's how my household was. I moved with my mom. My sister moved with my dad.
Yeah.
We were a house divided for a long time. So that hit home really big for me growing up. And so they were able to rekindle their brotherly friendship and love and go on this wild adventure to save the Digiverse and eventually the world.
Well, but then they're also never overly optimistic with it. You see at the end of like the first series of this, because they do have continuations of Digimon Adventure, but even though they feel like, oh, we've just saved the world and now our parents are next to each other, you know that marriage is still broken. You see in the later stuff that the relationship never rekindles. They still live in that situation, and it was kind of nice to not just get the overly happy, oh, and now they got back together and everything is good,
magical.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for a series, especially one aimed at kids, to have themes like that. You deal with a lot of like interesting themes. Tai in the second arc, when they're out in the desert and he has to come to terms with the fact that there are real consequences to his actions, that if he gets hurt, he could be very well hurt in the real world. Yep. Like, and just a child having to come to terms with his mortality in an anime that is primarily aimed at like 8-year-olds. It's at least the way they portrayed it in America.
Well, it's like if you flip that, the main villain who was putting up the monoliths to corrupt the Digiverse, thinking it was all just a game, and then realizing these Digimon have feelings and they're real creatures.
And you're talking about Ken from season 2 or Digimon 02. Yeah.
02, yeah. With the black monoliths that were enslaving the Digimon.
Yeah, and there's a lot
that touched on slavery,
themes.
Which was super big.
It did. There's a lot of really heavy themes in Digimon that you're never gonna really get with Pokemon, and when you do, it's very few and far between. We all know that Black and White easily had the best story when it came to Pokemon. If you're actually wanting for deeper dives, that's a regular with Digimon. They're having those real stories that they're not willing to have because they're wanting the more episodic nature of Pokemon that makes it easier for kids to watch. That was what drew me to Digimon as a kid, was first the humor, I would say, because there is some fun humor in Digimon. Yeah. Then the fact that it's like, here's giant dinosaur with cannons on its back. Let's see, let's go and see a Pokemon do that. But then what really keeps you
Blastoise.
That's not a dragon though.
No, but he's a reptile still.
Yeah. But yeah, you just don't get that same level of consistent good storytelling with Pokemon. I feel like that you do with Digimon, and like you said, you do change up the gimmick and the theme, which means also a lot of times changing up the characters that you're getting a lot, because when you do go and look at something like Digimon season 3, which was Tamers, you have like Rika, who has a mother who is the only one that's raising her, that is not always there, that it cares a lot of the times more about her work than paying attention to her child. So that's another really good thing that you got, because you got to see that mentality that was through her and how she was raised and how that is portrayed with how she would raise a Digimon in difference to someone else that might see them as a best friend. She's seen it more as an accessory.
Or like a tool.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a deep theme.
With Digimon as well, I might be biased on it, but I preferred the Digimon merchandise and toys than I did the Pokemon.
Yeah, especially season 02, where you had the eggs that could morph into the Digimon were so cool.
And then you have the Digivices, you could scan the codes, or when the cards came in, you could like slide your cards and power up your Digimon.
Now, that is one problem I do have with Digimon, though. There's been about 50 iterations of their card game. The current one is awesome, but the fact that we've had this many iterations, it's a little bit annoying. Like, it even surpasses Dragon Ball.
But I still enjoyed like their actual physical toys.
Right.
I thought they were a lot better than the Pokemon ones, because Pokemon, you got your little figurines. Maybe you'll have a Pokeball or two, but there wasn't like the Pokédex sucked for the Pokemon series. Yeah. I did not like it. It was too blocky. Didn't want to work half the time. The screen was too small.
Well, I think that gives you a whole category that Digimon actually far, far, far exceeds Pokemon in, and that's V-Pets.
Yeah, virtual pets were a big thing for Digi, and I loved it.
Well, it's what really got it started. It was a V-Pet before it was a TV show, card game, or anything else. This started out before it was a video game to anime. It was a V-Pet to
Tamagotchi style.
It's the same company that made Tamagotchi, and it's still made to this day. I mean, the 20th anniversary ones were pretty good, where you had 2 Digimon instead of 1 on it. Personally, if you want to get into a new one, I recommend the X series. If you're wanting just an old school one, there is a Digimon V-Pet color now, but it's like $70 or something. There's even a workout bracelet one that unfortunately I don't think they're making anything for anymore. In fact, I've got like 3 of them, where you worked out and that's what trains your Digimon, and it's called a V bracelet.
Pokemon had that too with Pokemon Go. They had a Pokeball that you could hook to your waist, and as you traveled, it gave points towards like whatever Pokemon you went for training.
But that's where it has that Digimon charm. Depending on the type of workouts you did and the type of battling that you did with it would determine which route that it went for its Digivolution, and that is that level of extra that I love with Digimon.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, like, I prefer Digimon over Pokemon, and I'm a big Pokemon fan. I've been playing since Heart Gold. Like, my first ever video game.
We'll be having to do a reaction stream here soon, because we are on the precipice of getting some Pokemon ZA announcements here soon.
Yeah, that'd be nice, because like my first ever Game Boy game was the Pokemon Yellow.
No, I got red and blue. I had the Game Boy Color. It was a purple one, and I got red and blue on it. Because that's what that came like. Literally, that was like my Christmas, pretty much.
Yeah, so that's what I got for Christmas too. Was the Game Boy Advance SP. That was my Christmas present. I got the red one. I still own it.
Nice. SP was next level. I had the OG Advance, so I never got the SP. My brother had an SP because he waited a little bit, and I agree the SP is definitely superior, but I was good with my Advance at that point. I wasn't about to buy a whole other system because I was like a kid.
You see, I like the skeleton color. The one where it's like you see all the internals.
Yeah.
I loved that case.
A lot of people want people to start making more products that had that old aesthetic. I think that the only way you could get it is if you worked for the company, but there was a model of the Oculus 3, the VR headset that has the see-through plastic, and I'm like, oh, that would have been cool, man.
Yeah, I love skeleton in general. Like,
I say that I loved it back then. I loved it back then. The problem is now I throw a case on anything that's electric.
Yeah, see, even when I build PCs, I prefer fully enclosed glass ones so you can see all the wires. I love seeing the vein system through things.
See, I'm actually about to get a new case tower here within the next few months. But the one I'm looking at is a rounded glass front. So it's only 2 sides, but I only wanted that. I don't want more than that, just because of ventilation purposes, you know.
Yeah. So I like the three-sided glass with the back is the only thing that's not
Yeah.
because hardware issues.
Right.
But my favorite thing about those old systems was being able to see the inner workings of it.
Yeah.
Seeing the motherboard, seeing the memory, seeing the battery.
I can see all of that. I have like, even with my single, because I have a single side right now, I can see all of that stuff. I mean, I recently.
But you can't see the back panel where all your wiring, your rat nest is in the back.
Yeah, I don't want to see that, man.
See, all my stuff is clean, neat, zip tied, and taped to look really nice. I spent hours to do that.
Whenever I get my new tower, I plan on going all extra with it, but since I knew I was going to be like gutting it again and throwing it in a new tower, I didn't bother getting fancy with it when I installed that new motherboard recently.
Oh no, it bugs me if it's not. So I spent like 3 hours cleaning.
It's clean in the front, but there's definitely just some cables in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the rat's nest.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not bad. It's nothing. It's not like I've seen some people's stuff, but you know, I didn't even bother hooking up the RGB lighting on the new fans that I got because I'm like, why suck more power off of my stuff for something that I don't even really look at right now?
Yeah, well, that's sort of like how I have my RGB set for my GPU and my RAM, and they're color coded matched together, so they run through the same program.
Yeah.
So. But that's the only RGB I have on my PC right now.
There's a lot of stuff that just automatically has it nowadays. Like
I shut a lot of it down because I just don't need it.
Right. Well, it's funny because I was going. I had to go and get. I had to get different RAM since I upgraded my motherboard. Unfortunately, I didn't even realize that when I was buying it that it used a different type of RAM because we went from like 4 to 5 or whatever now.
I think I use 4.
I use 5 now.
Actually, I got it right here. Because when I was showing it to you. Yeah, DDR4.
Yeah, I use a DDR5 now just because of my new motherboard. But that also makes me feel like, cool, I'm future-proof for a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So 4's been around for a while. I don't know how long 5's been out.
I don't know, but I do feel like I'm pretty future-proof now, especially after I do these last few little upgrades that I have, because I have to go and build my girlfriend a computer off of the leftover parts from what I've basically been upgrading, which now, I mean, I've got most of the parts. I just need to go and find me a good 30 series. I want to find her a good 30 series graphics card, which will be something I probably get her for Christmas. So building that for her will probably be part of the Christmas, though, because, I want her to be able to start doing some PC stuff with me.
Yeah, so that's what I did with my wife, too, is I built her computer with leftover parts of my stuff.
Nice. But yeah, so I will say I am a little bit sad though right now when it comes to Digimon. We have no official TV show coming out right now.
Nope.
After 2020 ended, we had the 02 movie that came out to pretty mixed reviews. Not bad, but mixed. We had, of course, the last movie that kind of capped off what was supposed to be the end of Digimon Adventure, the last Kazunu movies that they did. So I don't know where they're really going. I'm hoping that we will get some news soon, because I'm here to tell you now, DigiFest almost never gives us real good news. Like, I watch every year since they've started doing it, and it is a sad showing. It's more of a celebration of Digimon than what you would normally expect from something that big, to where you'd get a bunch of announcements. I don't know why. You'd think that they would pepper. I think the only announcements that we got right now, because the only thing that we are currently getting is a manga series. I think it's called Liberators. It might be. If not,
that sounds familiar.
But there's a manga that is currently coming out, and it's the only thing, and it is it's tied with the card game, which is somewhat popular. So right now, the only things that are propping up the Digimon series as far as new content coming out is a manga and the card game that has a pretty decent level of success currently.
Yeah, so with the DigiFest, it just kind of reminds me of BlizzFest.
Yeah, it's a sad
They're
showing.
just doing it to do it.
Yeah, and it's just like, with us having to listen to translations the entire time, it's a long festival, so I end up skipping a lot of the parts, like a lot of them,
Yeah. So Digimon Liberator is a card game, and they don't have much for anything for an anime right now. I'm on their official website.
Yeah. Well, no, like it's like I said, it's in connection with the card game.
I'm saying on their website they don't have anything for news.
Oh yeah, yeah, not right now. We should be getting some stuff here soon, though, from what I've heard.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they plan to do. Ghost game was, I thought, okay. It's not one of the. I'd say it's pretty mid when it comes to the Digimon series. You know, if I was gonna rank it, which we could do a rank video at some point, ranking all of our favorite seasons. I think that would be pretty fun. But I'd like to probably get a few more people that have watched a bunch of Digimon so we can kind of have a little bit more of a discussion on that if we end up doing a video for that, which would be fun. But yeah, I'm hopeful that it's something new. I don't need another retelling of Digimon Adventure. I don't. A lot of people want a remake of 02. I don't. I want something new. I want new Digimon.
Well, like the Digimon Liberators, I like the art for it. It is a very clean art style. So I hope they pick a decent studio to animate it, because if they do like they did Kingdom, and then I'm probably going to boycott.
Oh yeah, I will never forgive how they've done Kingdom with that 3D animation. It makes me want to beat my head into a desk for hours on end. Like
it's one of my favorite manga.
It is one of the best written manga of all time. It is easily one of the best written manga. I'm not through it because it's long.
Oh, it is long.
But oh my,
the era of the Three Kingdoms is just a beautiful time period.
And the art that they use is phenomenal.
It is clean.
Like,
and then they butchered it with 3D animation.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
The same thing with Tales of Demons and Gods. Same thing.
They've done it recently with they've done it recently with Berserk, you know, like
I never got into Berserk, so
I didn't get into Berserk, but still very similar, like a very heightened art style that just they did not translate. Now, one that they did do correct with that though, thankfully is Vinland Saga. So good, because it's the same company that did the first few seasons of Attack on Titan, so you know that they do their stuff good, you know, which is actually very exciting because that same company is working on the One Piece remake that they're currently working on. Same company also that makes Spy Family, so you know, I feel like it's a good company to have, and I like their art style. Hell, let them do a Digimon season.
Yeah, so for next week's What to Watch, I have an idea what I'm going to do, and it's going to be one that has 3D animation that I think they did well.
Oh, we're going to talk about Dorohedoro?
No, not Dorohedoro.
What? There's another one? I thought that was the only one that's done it well.
No, it's a new one. There's only like 3 episodes out right now.
Okay. Well, that's all we got for this week, though, man. Like, as a good time talking to you, we'll let you go ahead and give your shout-outs of where people can find you.
Yeah, cool. As I said earlier, you can find me on Twitch at Shorty Mafia. Starting to get back into streaming again. We did a really decent stream last week for Among Us. Hopefully we get some more streams like that in.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed meeting some new people, and it was a fun game to pick back up. So look forward to more of that.
Would like to get some more kind of party games like that. It'd be fun if we did a Kart Riders night, which is, for anyone that watches this, it's like Mario Kart, but like free and on PC. So fantastic game if you want to play with some friends.
Or if anyone's trying to play some Uno. I love tabletop games like Uno.
Man, I think you need to come into VR chat, man. We need to record some more bits with it. We found a world that looks like that looks like a game show, man, but it's Uno, and you actually take the card and throw it because the card that's in play circles and your podium glows when it's your turn. It's so fun.
I've checked that out because I love Uno.
Yeah, you would have a fun time with that one. That one's definitely. We'll show you that world. I've been to it recently, so I know I've got it saved. But yeah, that's all that we have for this week. I am Rune. You can catch me here and on Mondays over on Honor Fights Hourly playing the Marvel campaign. Don't forget to have you guys a wonderful night, afternoon, whatever time it is. I know we have some people out in California that end up watching this sometimes. But yeah, have yourself a wonderful day, and talk to you later.
This is